Muses. Today I am doing the Fantasy Writer Confession Tag Challenge. I found this on AuthorTuber Sydney Faith Author, and I will link her channel below. But these are 8 questions that I am going to try to answer, and maybe you'll find it interesting. If you're new here, my name is Melissa Beckwith. I write epic fantasy and sci-fi under the name Melissa E. Beckwith. My website is melissaebeckwith.com. I'm also on Patreon, patreon.com/Melissa E. Beckwith. And I write a short story or a collection of poetry every month for my patrons. So, let's get to it. Okay, question number 1. A trope cliche that I've used, that you've used, that I've used. I kind of went over this part in the last YouTube video that I did, which was AuthorTube Newbie 3.0. I'll link that below. That I'm rewriting. I took the novels. I've got 3 full-length novels and 1 novella that I published myself. I took them all down. I'm going through rewriting and re-editing them all, recovering them. I'm gonna have a huge book launch, hopefully by the end of the year, late fall, winter. I don't know, but one of the cliches that I'm completely taking out was that the start of book 1 is an exciting scene, but then several pages in you find out that she's actually dreaming. It was all a dream. And yeah, that doesn't go over too well, I don't think. So I'm completely taking that out, and I'm rewriting the whole beginning of the book. I'm rewriting all of the books, but I'm totally rewriting the first part of that book. So that was a cliche that I did, starting a book off in a dream. Didn't work for me anyway. Okay, number 2, a character you've changed for the plot, and that would be my main character in the Sword of Rhiannon series, Rhiannon. I had been thinking about these books for years. I mean, I'm talking probably 15 years ago or more, probably by now, 20 years ago or more. The beginnings of the books, the story started rumbling around in my head, and at first she was a New York City lawyer. And then I thought, wow, she's got to go through all this stuff, and she's going through, it's a portal fantasy. It's an epic fantasy, portal fantasy. She goes through this portal. She ends up in this other fantasy world where they don't have all of the modern conveniences that we're used to now, like, you know, cars and air conditionings and stuff. So I'm thinking, that's going to be too much of a leap from somebody who is a city girl, you know, a New York City attorney. So I changed her completely. She is a Montana cattle rancher. Wow, words are hard for me today. Because I just thought that that would fit in better with the plot. She wouldn't be so completely traumatized by not having a taxi. You know, at her beck and call. Okay, so 3, a darling you didn't kill. There is a character in, he's in the second part. He comes in the second part of book 2, but I don't want to give it away because something happens to him. But I really couldn't kill him off. I really like him, and I end up giving him his own storyline. So I guess I did. I guess that is a spoiler alert. Shishnai. he comes in, like I said, the second part of book 1, which used to be book 2, but I'm putting them together. And I just couldn't kill him off, but he gets his own storyline in book 3, which will now be book 2 when I republish them. Okay, number 4, a thing based on something. I have these characters called the priests and priestesses of Jur in my book, and my personal experience with cults, I kind of base them very loosely off my personal experience of cults. And also my main character, Rhiannon's reluctance to believe in gods or goddesses or magic or any of that was also heavily based on where I come from, from my background. But that's a thing based on that's a thing based on something. Okay, number 5, a place you'd never visit. Mordor. Like I don't know if this is just in any book or my books, but I hopefully one of these days will be a world traveler. I want to travel so bad. I don't even have my passport yet. I'm getting a late start on this whole world traveling. If I had to do it all over again, I would have started traveling as soon as I got out of high school, and I would have gone all over the world 5 times over by now. But that didn't happen, so I'll have to put that off maybe for another year. But I want to be a world traveler, so I don't think that a place, I don't know if that is a place now. Like I wouldn't want to go to North Korea, because I'd be afraid that something bad would happen to me. I don't really have a burning desire to go to the Middle East just because, how they treat women. Another fear thing. I don't think I'd want to go there. But everywhere else is game. Man, I'm on. I want to be a world traveler. And any places that I mention in my books, my stories, oh yeah, I'd want to travel. I'd want to go there. I would want to go everywhere. All the wheres. Okay, number 6, a character you'd never want to meet. If that's talking about one of my characters, I don't think there's any one of my characters that I wouldn't want to meet, because even the antagonists in my stories, like all of my stories, they're not all bad. Like they're the bad guys, but they're not like scary bad, like serial killer bad. So I don't think there's any character that I wouldn't want to meet in my own books. Let's see, number 7, a scene you struggle to write. I struggle with fight scenes, you guys, which is not good for an epic fantasy writer. I struggle with fight scenes. And I don't, there's no sex in my books, in any of my stories. I've never written a sex scene, but I think I'd struggle with that. I hope in the future to kind of branch out and write a romance, or maybe it's not a romance, just a romantic fantasy, romantic sci-fi, which has a heavy romance element. And I don't even know if I even have the desire to write a sex scene. So I don't know. I'll just have to cross that bridge when I come to it. But I struggle with fight scenes. I'm not sure, and I'm not sure why, and I hope I'll get better at it in the future. Of course, we all get better the more words we write. Number 8, last one. A plot hole you filled in. Okay, in the end of, which will now be the second part of book 1, The Tree of Bone and Mist, said character, Shishnai, which I talked about earlier, there was a storyline that did not get developed that I was going to develop in Sword of Stone, which I kind of left out. And I don't know why, but again, this will be book 2. It's book 3 now, but when I redo it, it's going to be book 2. And I am writing that whole storyline, and I'm putting it into the book. It will be a long book, but it's an epic fantasy, but I'm closing that plot hole. So there we go. Fantasy Writer Confession Tag. This is mid-June 2022, and I thank you guys for taking the time to listen to my ramblings and listen to me answer these questions. And I look forward to meeting other AuthorTubers. And I hope that I can join this community and get some friends. And I really need some accountability partners. Maybe we can keep each other on track, because I need to start writing again daily. So thanks again, guys, for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Bye.